Detective Comics number 997, written by Peter Tomasi, art by Doug Mahnke. The artwork is pretty great. It is a good looking Batman book. Just is perfect at encapsulating everything that makes Batman Batman. The storyline I'm liking a lot. You know, they're building up to the 1000th issue. You see on the cover of this book, it says the countdown to 1000. And this storyline they chose to do it is very interesting because it's like establishing what made Batman Batman and what are these characters that like made him who he is. So we've had, you know, Bruce Wayne's parents. These people were made to look like Bruce Wayne's parents. Then we've had Leslie Tompkins. We had Henry Ducard. We had this Master Karigi up in the mountains, this like ninja that trained Batman. Now, we did have a little bit of this detour because then we all of a sudden had Mr. Miracle, Thaddeus Brown, the initial Mr. Miracle, and apparently he's trained Batman as well. But the thing is, I don't remember that. I've read a lot of Batman comics over the years, and I don't remember the original Mr. Miracle ever training Batman, especially an important enough character to be in this particular storyline. So that is very weird. But moving past that, maybe it will be explained as we continue on to the 1000th issue. When this issue picks up, we have that Mr. Miracle and Batman, and they are in this death trap. And this death trap is basically like the old Adam West Batman TV show, very reminiscent of that. Like there's sharks going to eat them, and they have to escape, right? That Adam West show, it always, each episode always ended on that cliffhanger of how Batman's going to escape this death trap, and the next episode would answer it, right? So that's kind of what we're getting here. We're getting this epic escape from the death trap. So let's jump into this issue. So it opens up, and Batman and Mr. Miracle, they're in this thing of water, and it's filling up, and there's these sharks that are probably going to eat them, and you know they're all tied up, and they don't know how they're going to escape, and it looks like these sharks are going to maybe, you know, devour them. And all of a sudden, this other door opens, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of piranhas come into this tank, and they start eating the sharks, and they're going to eventually devour Batman and Mr. Miracle. So how are they going to get out of this? So Batman, thinking on his feet, he grabs a piece of shark meat that has floated off of a shark, and he grabs it with his mouth, and he kind of tries to fling it towards the like wristbands on his arms that they're tying it up. And sure enough, the piranhas, they go for that meat, and they chew through some of these leather bands, and then Batman is all of a sudden free a bit, and then he puts like the leather strap close to Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle chews through it a bit more, and then finally Batman breaks free, and Batman manages to swim both him and Mr. Miracle up to the surface for safety. So I really love this part of the issue. So cool, so epic, just this great action sequence. Then once they get to the surface, this is where the story loses me a little bit. We have this crazy monster that have fought Batman for the last few issues that is maybe like Clayface, and it keeps turning into other creatures. So in this one, it's like this messed up looking Batman, and it's gonna fight him, and then it turns into his parents, and then it turns into Joe Chill, and then it turns into a messed up looking Robin and Jim Gordon and all the Bat family and Alfred. Batman has to like fight this crazy creature. I mean, the artwork is great, but like I'm a little lost, like what the hell this thing really is, right? So Batman seems to win this battle against this thing, and then Mr. Miracle is like, those are some nice moves, escape artistry at its finest. And then Batman says, I learned it from you. And then did he really though? Did he really? I don't remember that. That's all I'm saying. I don't remember him learning this from Mr. Miracle. Anyway, after this confrontation, Batman is going to leave Mr. Miracle be, and he's going to move on to his next mission, and he heads back over to Gotham City, and we see Hugo Strange, and Hugo is in this lab, and it's been destroyed, and Hugo is pissed that his lab is destroyed, and he's like, who attacked my inner sanctum? All my work, this foul transgression will be rewarded with death. And then Batman's in the fight, and he's like, Strange! And that's how this issue ends. So I thought this was a pretty cool storyline. I love the first half, a little bit mixed on the weird Clayface type creature Batman's fighting in the second half of this book. And also, they really kind of just dropped that Hugo Strange stuff at the end to set up next issue, but they didn't really elaborate much more on that. But nonetheless, like, lots of stuff to like here. I'm excited for the journey to issue 1000. I'm going to give this issue a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty excited to see where this goes.